is not about money for me. I hope you guys understand this. I am here fighting for you. It's me. I'm the one out here putting the work in behind the scenes trying to save crypto while these devils, they're trying to permanently ruin it.
GM and welcome back to the channel. In this one, we're previewing the FOMC, which is later on today. We've also got some liquidity flows coming for crypto over at Arbitrum, and we have Bitboy begging for cash. Now, if you enjoy this one, make sure you do subscribe to the channel and let's jump in. So starting off here with Bitcoin, quick bit of analysis here. Bitcoin is moving towards the mid-range, somewhere in around $28,000. That is the midpoint of where we are right now. Bottom around 24.7, BlackRock, top around 32K. And basically we have a nice area of support, holding a support, and now a bit of momentum, trucking on upwards slowly and steadily here into the FOMC later on today. And I'm sure we will see some nice fat Darth Maul candles as people stops get hunted, pretty much standard practice for an FOMC event. Jerome says something dovish, price go up. He says something slightly hawkish, price dump down. So Bitcoin at 27,120 as we film. Let's jump into the FOMC talking points. So has the Fed done enough is a common theme and title around at this moment in time. So the analysts are suggesting that we have a pause and continued pause here as they think pretty much the Fed is done with hiking of interest rates for this cycle. So we have UBS economists here. We expect a relatively dovish outcome wrapped in data dependence, pretty much the same rhetoric we've heard previously. And we think participants are generally comfortable with a level of nominal rates. They also expect Chair Powell to say the FOMC is prepared to raise interest rates further if appropriate. Again, we've heard these words before, and they expect the median participant is willing to wait to see if inflation is falling, making the real rate more restrictive over time, which would do the remaining work for them. So this is pretty much a copy paste of the previous FOMC. I don't really think we've gleaned anything brand new here, and this is kind of as expected right now. Some people are suggesting that the post-match press conference where Jerome takes to the stand and gets some questions, maybe he'll be a bit more hawkish than the guys over here at UBS are expecting. But from aggregating the opinions of lots of macro experts out there, the general consensus right now is that they're pretty much done. Maybe there will be one additional 25 basis points rate hike either towards the end of the year or the start of the new year, but most people are on board with they're done. So on the timeline today, you are going to see all the hedgers absolutely out in force and a lot of panic on the timeline. People getting ultra bearish, some getting giga bullish, the standard stuff for any big volatility event day. But what we've seen recently is that the volatility around the FOMC has been a lot less. But this meme is an absolute cracker. The event hedger thinks every event is the big event, lives in constant fear. Tweets such as, "You're not hedged for this, laugh my ass off, good luck." Pretty much the Adam Cochran playbook there. But what is the market pricing in? 99% certainty that we remain flat. So no action due today. A pause and a continuation of the pause from last time out around July. And what we do know is that Jerome does not like to scare or spook the markets. Therefore, if the market says we're staying at the current rates, then you know it's pretty much cut and dry that we will continue on the current course with the rates at 525 to 550. If you just scan through the CME data here, likelihood of being flat in November, 73%, in December, 60%, and January, 60% yet again. And it's March 2024, this drops down to near 54%. But look, it doesn't seem like the market is really pricing in any additional increases, and the potentiality of a cut coming at 34.8% in June of 2024 there. So I do think it's kind of a bit of a nothing burger again today. And what we're seeing is these FOMC events are becoming less relevant as there's no change in course. So if they remain flat, no change in course, then no major volatility expected off the back of that. I'm seeing a lot of people suggest that once they do start cutting based on historic reference points, once they actually alter the course and we do get the first cut, the markets in fact usually crash at that point, which is quite interesting. But let's move on to gold. So I'm not one for talking about gold too much, but I did stumble across this article and I thought it was quite interesting that the central banks are now reporting purchases of gold. So as it says on the title there, following 3 months of net sales, central banks report net buying again from June. And the data starts from June here. Obviously July and August data not yet out. But the fact they've restarted buying here, as per the net purchase, as you can see this dot here, I do think this is of interest. When you have the individuals with the money printers, the central banks, and they're starting to increase their holdings of a scarce asset, gold, the typical inflation hedge, the debasement hedge, that kind of narrative, well, that is interesting to me. And I also think this is positive for BTC long term. If central banks are scooping up gold hand over fist, I do think it's a wider signal to the markets. Yep, these guys are looking to do some money printing in the not too distant future, and they're hedging their bets at this point. So 6 central banks added gold during the month of June, with only 2 notable sellers. The biggest purchaser was the People's Bank of China. They added 21 tons of gold to their reserves during June. Their currency is also down 15% year to date. And this is their 8th month of consecutive purchases. Again, China obviously not directly going to be buying BTC, but this is a signal for their people that the government is buying up gold. And I think what we'll see is a lot of capital slowly and steadily moving into BTC over in China. It has also been reported that in China, there's been quite a premium on Bitcoin at the moment, trading at around 32,000 US dollars per BTC. Some amusingly calling that the dim sum premium. And we also have purchases coming from the National Bank of Poland, Czech Republic, Qatar, and India as well. So this is quite interesting to me to see this behavior from the money printers themselves. Now we have this. So this is the gold chart here. And as you can see, what typically happens is as the DXY pushes up, gold usually takes a hit. Now, as of recent, DXY has gone from around 100 all the way up to 105. But during this period, gold has been pretty much flatline. Hence, there has to be a big buyer in order for that inverse relationship to have not occurred. So the gold price per ounce, $19.29 right now. And that blue line is the all-time high level, around $20.75. And I think this does push on up towards all-time highs in the not too distant future upon the next big liquidity push and a lot of money being printed by these central banks. I think the writing is on the wall here, lines up with what Jerome Powell has been saying. And if we do break above that all-time high, well, this is Peter Schiff getting pretty leery on the timeline once again. But if gold does break to all-time highs, I think BTC gets a bit of a run-up off the back of that. Now, in terms of crypto liquidity here, we have Arbitrum with a short-term incentive program, i.e. save our bags. So what they're doing is distributing 75 million ARB to the protocols that have been active on the Arbitrum network. So some of your favorite altcoins potentially over on Arbitrum are about to get a cash injection. So do have your eyes on the price for this one, dropping in Q4. What we're seeing is the early stages of a bit of markup across the Arbitrum ecosystem. Lodestar is up 46% today. Kujira also on there, up 15%, massive dislocation between Kujira's TVL skyrocketing and the price not really catching up, but it's slowly starting to do so. And I think a lot of these undervalued altcoins that have links to Arbitrum will start to tick on up here. But I think what we're seeing now is the initial markup. There'll be a retrace there because we're still weeks out from this event actually occurring and the money's starting to flow. And then once those ARB tokens do start to hit the markets, hit those teams, and they can incentivize usage of their platforms or however they deem fit to distribute those tokens, we'll see the second wave then of price appreciation for those tokens. So probably a good time to start listing up your favorite ARB alts, getting active in the discords and seeing what they're going to be doing with these funds. Then last but not least, is this the massive bottom signal you've all been waiting for? You have Ben Armstrong, Bitboy Crypto, begging for money on the timeline. He's humbly asking anyone who's ever benefited from his pump and dumps to help donate to his legal fund. We will check out that ETH address in just a moment, but let's listen in and see how much sympathy we have with this guy.
Like when people see what they did to me with this Lamborghini, trying to bleed me out, that's what they're trying to do. They're trying to bleed me out of money so I can't fight. And so today, as I put 20 bucks in my gas tank earlier that I had to borrow from someone because I've been 100% cut off from all my money. My wife's American Express card, well, that wasn't paid for the last month. That wasn't paid. It was supposed to be getting paid by people that work for me.
Just to cut in this point, so the guy's worth 7 figures. Apparently during the last cycle, he's charging 40k for a pump and dump on the channel. He has a finance-based channel, but he seemingly doesn't have 2 pennies to scratch his ass with, and he has no money left on the side, no stack of cash, and apparently from this also doesn't hold any of his crypto on his own ledger, which is just the most retarded thing I've ever heard. So the fact he preaches about finance on a daily basis, but he has no money to fill up the gas tank of his own car, he has no runway to pay off his obligations, his credit cards. Well, personally, I'm finding it pretty hard to have any sympathy with this kind of behavior. It is ridiculous. Boo-hoo, you lost your Lambo. But let's listen into what he has to beg for next.
And they didn't do it, so the credit card's maxed out. And guys, we're in a tough spot here because they're trying to make me stop fighting. And so I humbly ask that if I've ever done anything for you, if I've ever encouraged you, if I've ever given you a dream that you might have something different, if some of my content has helped you, or if you're on the outside of this situation looking in and you see how dirty what's happening is, then I humbly ask that you donate. We have ERC20 address, Ethereum or stablecoin. Stablecoins would be best, but whatever you want to donate is fine. If you have other stuff you want me to list addresses, Bitcoin address or something, I can do that too. Stablecoins, like I said, are the easiest right now. So we're trying to fund the legal fund. They took the Lamborghini, so I couldn't sell it, obviously. And I'm in a bad spot right here, guys. And I'm going to, starting tomorrow, we're crypto content. That's what we're going to do. And I'm really, really looking forward to it.
So we get the picture here. Ben has lost all of his net worth. Apparently, he's had his Lamborghini rugged from him. We're supposed to feel sorry for this. He tried to pump and dump the Ben token, couldn't even get that to move. Chased SBF around the Bahamas, wears a Rolex in his latest thumbnail of his last video, yet he's begging people for cash. But how redacted are the market participants in crypto? How much money has this address received? I wonder. Well, it's up to 33 ETH, value 54,000 US, plus 16k there in stablecoins as well. So although this is a massive bottom signal, maybe we do deserve to bleed out some further, because people giving money to this bloke who racked up 7 figures, maybe not in the most honest of ways during the last cycle. Check the Zach XBT threads. Well, apparently we're still willing to give this guy 70k after a little bit of a video over on Twitter. Pretty pathetic stuff. So we'll leave off here. Do subscribe if you're new around here. Enjoy the FOMC madness. Stay off the 100x leverage as you will get wiped the F out. And I'll see you again tomorrow. Peace.